Okay, so here's some STAAR tips to help you pass. I guarantee, I'm not worried about most all my students passing, but I think you could do better than just pass. You could ace this thing. So, what order should I take the test in? You don't have to take it in the order that it's laid out. So, it's on their computer, but you can jump around. I would write the rough draft of my essay first. So I would click through until I found the prompt for the essay, and I would write a rough draft out on paper after doing my initial brainstorming. And then I would set it aside. So just write the whole rough draft on paper and then leave it alone. Next, I would move to the reading section. Aside from the essay, this should take the majority of your concentration, using up the most of your brain power that you have for that day. You have to really concentrate on the reading, so I would do that second. During the test, if your concentration starts waning, and you can get up and clear your head, you don't have to power through the whole thing in one sitting. You can go get a drink of water, use the restroom, eat a little bit of a snack in case your blood sugar is getting off. Just do things to take breaks to give your brain a little rest. After you finish the reading section, go to the editing section. It's an important section, of course, like all the questions still count, but it doesn't require that much intense concentration. You're not like, they give you those essays that are written by students, supposedly, and you're going to fix the errors or combine sentences to make them read better, things like that. So you don't really have to concentrate so much on the content of the essay, and so your brain's not having to work super hard. So I would do editing next. And then finally, when I'm done with all that, then I would go back to the rough draft and I would revise it and edit it. You have a fresh set of eyes because you haven't looked at it or thought about it in a while. You've read some academic level writing, so you've seen, had that experience. And now you can go back and look at it with a fresh set of eyes and revise it, read it aloud in your head, make sure that it, flows smoothly, all that stuff. And then you can transfer it onto the computer. Well, you can't exactly go to sleep right away. You're allowed to bring a book, and in the past they've let students sleep. I don't know if that'll still be the case, but you can still bring a book. So you're kind of just sitting there for the rest of the time while everybody else is testing, and all you can do really is read a book. So why not take some time and go back through your test? You can hit the review button on the computer and see anything you didn't answer. Maybe you left something blank by accident. Don't leave any answers blank. And you can just scroll through and review anything. When you're doing the reading section, approach each reading excerpt as if you're taking an exam over that, short story or poem or whatever they give you. Annotate it, highlight it, read it very carefully, and be super careful. After you finish the reading section, or after you finish reading, I would read through the excerpt first, and then I would go look at the questions and then go back and find the specific areas it's pointing to. You can almost always eliminate one answer choice easily in these things. That there'll be one that's just super obviously wrong. You can cross that right out. Then there's one usually that kind of looks right at first, or that it could be, but there's something totally off about it. You can throw it out. Then you've narrowed it down to a 50-50 shot after that. So I use the process of elimination. Once you got it down to two choices, what you need to do is go back to the reading section, and you need to try to prove both answers. You should be able to prove all parts of the correct answer choice. The other one, maybe you can only prove, half of it. The correct answer, you should be able to prove all parts with evidence from the text. That's the important part. Use a dictionary. They give you one, and if you don't understand a word, or they're asking about spelling or the definition, whatever, look it up. And if you don't remember the meaning of a literary term that they're asking you about, look that up. They may ask you something about, synecdoche, and you're like, what the heck is that again? Well, go look that up. It's in the dictionary. It'll tell you what that is. If you are narrowed down to two, but you still can't you're like, both of these look correct. I don't know which one is the most correct. Just go with your gut. Choose the one that you thinks feels right. Just don't leave it blank. Guess something. During the essay, you're writing an expository, like the kind we practice for our STAAR practice, and you must fully answer the prompt. So many people answered only part of the prompt when we did the one over work versus play, or, making time for both work and play. A lot of students wrote, oh, this is why it's important to make time for play, and basically argued for the reasons why we should devote more time to play. That's not what the prompt asks for. You have to completely follow the prompt, word for word, basically. So you have to have proved exactly in your essay that it is important to make time for work, and then also it is important to make time for play. So during the pre-writing section, what you should do is you should brainstorm as much evidence, whatever the prompt is asking about, brainstorm evidence. So for that prompt, we could have just started saying like, okay, what are the benefits of making time for work? And just started listing things like relaxation, stress relief, or for play, relaxation, stress relief, friendships, all, just start listing things and then get more and more specific. Ask yourself, what do I know, or what have I experienced in my life that relates to this topic? Maybe I overworked myself at some point and didn't have didn't give myself any free time and had a complete meltdown. Okay, I'm going to use that. That's going to be my evidence. I'm going to get real specific and detailed in explaining exactly what happened. And then that would be how I would do that one. So when you are writing your essay, start with your grabber, hook, web, whatever you want to call it, but you want to ease your audience into that topic. Paint a picture for them using your words, or startle them. Just find some way to engage them and get them, thinking about your topic. Then you move on to the exigents or background sentences. That's where you're going to take, that opening, and you're going to work from there, guiding your reader into your thesis. You're going to show them why your topic is relevant, give them any background info they might need in order to follow your line of logic. And then, of course, the thesis, that is the most important sentence you will write. So you can restate the prompt, but put it in new words. It's better if you do. Don't just exactly restate the prompt back to them. And then you want to add your unique viewpoints that you've thought of in there. Make it a two-pronged thesis because you're going to have two body paragraphs. So you want to have the thesis hint towards what those two body paragraphs will be about. Point number one will be body paragraph number one. You're going to be making a point, like for instance, on that last prompt, we could have said, it is important to, spend time devoted to work. That would be your body paragraph one. So you would give an example to back that up. If you don't work hard in school, you don't get the job, and so on. If Tesla, if Elon Musk hadn't have done this and blah, 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 he would have never done this and all that stuff. You got to make sure your example proves your point. So if you're going to bring in Elon Musk as your example, you have to show exactly how it connects, like his devotion to work, made him who he is today, that kind of thing. Connect it to everything, connects to your thesis. Body paragraph number two would be point number two. This is where it'd be like, but it's also important to provide time for play. And maybe I still want to use Elon Musk as my example and be like, if he didn't go out to all these balls and things, he wouldn't have met Grimes and they wouldn't have had their kid. And the kid isn't going to grow up and revolutionize the world and turn us all into robots. Be as detailed as possible. The more detailed your examples, the higher you score. Some ideas to use: personal things, books you've read are great for evidence. Movies things about your school, your community, church, sports teams, athletes and their things that have happened to them, etc. Any universals, politics, history. If you can bring in historical examples, that's great. Pop culture. Explain your evidence. So if you are going to use Elon Musk, you need to at least give enough info on him so that the reader would know what you're talking about if they had never heard of the guy. In the conclusion, you're going to kind of just reword your thesis, and then you want to leave your reader with a final thought. Use that hook or that web to grab them, so now give them something to think about as they are leaving you. You want to generate those 3 abstract words I talked about and connect them to your topic. That's a great way to write a conclusion. Tie those to your own life. Now, remember your audience, the grader. It's this lady. So don't use slang. Don't put any like kind of text shortening of words in there. You should avoid all the first person qualifiers like I think, I feel, in my opinion, that kind of thing. It's best to leave the first person out of the essay entirely unless you are using those anecdotes, in which case the first person, it only makes sense. And, break it up into paragraphs, make it look better to read instead of one just big block of text. The ladies, I'm being very stereotypical here, but the people who are going to be grading your essays are generally a lot of times like retired teachers. They are not, usually maybe the most good humored of people. They are going to be very specific and academic in what they're looking for. Having said that, like, as long as your humor is like appropriate, it's good to inject your personality in there and things like that, because they are reading like a ton of these. They're just sitting there reading one after another. So if you put your unique personality and like make, appropriate jokes and stuff within your essay, that will be enjoyable for them because they're sitting there reading essay after essay after essay. Don't use vague words like stuff, a lot, many. Be very specific. Remember the different words, the ways that you use there. They, apostrophe RE is they are. It's shortened to there. It's a contraction. There with an EI is showing possession. It's their house. There is showing area. It's showing proximity. In the editing section, basically the same rules apply as far as eliminating answer choices. If something sounds wrong, it probably is. Read all the answers aloud in your head, and remember to watch for fragments. A sentence needs a subject and a verb. If it doesn't have both, it's going to be a fragment. You can't combine two sentences with just a comma. So if you have a verb and an action on one side, or a subject and a verb on one side and a subject and verb on the other side, and you're just combining those with a comma, that's not right. You have to use comma with a fanboy. Watch out for sentences that are too long. It could be indicating run-ons. Take your time on this. They give you 5 hours, and I think this year it's like you were there basically for the full 5 hours no matter what. They give you time for lunch, but then other than that you get back to work. So take your time. Don't try to rush. Take breaks so you can keep focused. Take time to stretch. Take deep breaths. Have a snack. Get water. It will lessen your anxiety if you do that. Use the dictionary that they give you. Separating the pass-fail or the on level versus advanced scoring is generally like a question or two. So if you don't know something, look it up. And a pro tip, a lot of dictionaries have a grammar and style guide in the back. So it has comma rules, capitalization rules, all kinds of things. So that could be useful in the editing section if you've forgotten something.